of the footage on YouTube as well, and it just does look fun. It looks like, you can go pretty much most of the Marvel characters, and there's some really strange ones in there as well that you just wouldn't expect to see.
For example?
Yeah. Got me there, man. You got me there. I haven't an absolute clue because I can't remember. I know like Silver Surfer was in there, but I would expect to see him. Like, I don't know. Who's the guy that's the leader of the Illuminati?
Frank.
That's it, Frank.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, I know there's obviously imagine Chris Williams is just like, what the hell, man? Why don't you know this?
I know.
But it's Marvel Lego. Like I'll get it and I'll play it and it'll be fun. It's just not, it's not exactly an adult game.
Yeah. Right, okay, on to the 10 saddest moments. This is, as I say, something we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of response. You posted it on the Facebook page and through our social pages and whatnot to want people to get in contact with you and tell you what things made them... It's sad is fair, isn't it? It's a sad thing, isn't it? It's not just emotion, it's sad, isn't it?
It's a tearjerker.
Yeah.
Yes, it's has you reaching for the tissues in a sad way.
Okay.
Right.
But enough about my Friday nights.
Moving on. Right, so we've had 30 right through to number 11, and now it's the big hitters, the final 10.
Do you want to do a rundown before we get into it, just to remind people of extra sadness?
No, because I don't have a rundown.
Okay, top
Thank
10
you,
it
though.
is.
Thank you, though. That was awesome.
I always
Well
like to put you on the spot.
Well played. Love it.
Is that my fourth strike now?
That's your, yes, broken teeth for you, my boy.
Get out.
Yes, you're taking your teeth home in an envelope. Right, let's go to number 10. This is a show... Do you want me to do the announcements and then you do the breakdown, or what way do you want to do it?
Yeah, we'll do that. Just to warn you before we start that my computer's been really weird and sound was cutting out. Sorry. Sound was cutting out earlier, so I'm not sure if my mic may cut out at some point, so bear with me.
Okay. Well, we'll work around that if it happens. Right, hold on a second. Saxon, you've... I'm going to try and find the other 20 here first. We'll go through them first.
Okay. Do you want me to go through them just as
you've done
recompense?
enough. You've done enough.
Do you want me to sing a song for the people whilst we're waiting?
Hold on.
Go on then.
Right, here we go.
I'll hum the theme.
This is where we've been so far. Number 30 was the end of Deep Space Nine. The final episode, season 7, episode 25, What Do You Leave Behind? Number 29 was Chuck's Dad Dies in Chuck season 3, episode 18, Chuck versus the Subway. Number 28 was The Wonder Year's End Monologue, which was season 6, episode 22, Independence Day. Number 27, Wesley's Death in Angels, season 5, episode 22, Not Fade Away. 26, Opie's Death, Sons of Anarchy, season 5, episode 3, Laying Pipe. 25, The Glasses Break in the Twilight Zone, the original series, season 1, episode 8, Time Enough at Last. 24, Dr. Mark Green's Death in ER, season 8, episode 21, On the Beach. 23 was Connor Gavin's Sudden Death in Rescue Me, season 2, episode 12, Happy. 22 was I Got Off the Plane, Friends, season 10, episode 20, the last one, part 2. 21 was Bobby Dies in Supernatural, season 7, episode 10, Death's Door. Now that was, of course, the first week. That was the first 10. And now my computer's being slow. Come on. Right, what is it with all the technical issues tonight? This is awesome.
Emergency song. Go.
Yes, I'll sing something.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Okay,
No.
moving on. Number 20, Mark Sloan's Death in Grey's Anatomy, season 9, episode 1, Going, Gone. Number 19 was Crichton Closes the Wormhole to Earth for Good in Farscape, season 4, episode 22, Bad Timing. 18 was Jen's video message to her daughter in Dawson's Creek, season 6, episode 24, Must Come to an End. Number 17 was 6 Feet Under's ending montage, 6 Feet Under, season 5, episode 12, Everyone's Waiting. Number 16, Henry's Plane Crashes MASH, season 3, episode 22. 15, Marshall's Dad's Last Phone Message in How I Met Your Mother, season 6, episode 14, Last Words. 14, Jesse tries to revive Jane, Breaking Bad, season 2, episode 13, ABQ. Number 13, The Red Wedding, Game of Thrones, season 3, episode 9, The Reigns of Castamere. That was a doozy of an episode. 12, Walter sees Walternate's perfect the cure for Peter in Fringe, season 2, episode 16, Peter. And 11 was I Don't Want to Go, Doctor Who Season 4, Episode 18, The End of Time. And that brings us right up to where we are right now. This is the last 10.
In fact, number 11 was quite literally boo-hoo.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, without further ado, Natalie Cox is actually commenting on them here.
Good God.
Yeah. Right, well, maybe look at the comments afterwards. Right now, number 10. This is the first of this week's. Number 10. Blackadder goes forth. Season 1, Episode 6, Goodbye. Which is whenever they go over the wall.
Yeah, this was one... I never actually watched this when it was on. Blackadder was something I never watched for a long, long period of time. And it wasn't until I met Bryn and he was like, oh, you should watch Blackadder. And I watched it. And this... goes forth as the best season of Blackadder. The rest of it's kind of just... It's a bit bumf. And this episode is just crazy. You know, the whole Blackadder's just been trying to get out of World War One. He's been trying to tell his bosses that he's crazy, that he just can't go ahead with the war so that he can get sent home, and he doesn't get away with it. And at the end, he really just goes out with dignity. He's like, no, lads, we've got to go over the wall. We've got to face what we have. And Hugh Laurie makes the absolutely fantastic joke as Ron Atkinson turns around to him and says, oh, you forgot your stick? And he's like, yes, wouldn't want to leave my stick when we're going up against machine guns. And it's, you know, they go over, they all get shot, they all die, the camera pans out to the trenches, and then the trenches turn into the poppy fields, which they are. And it's just that thing, you know, World War One, we weren't even remotely around for it, but the effects of World War One can still be felt today. And it's a really horrible moment just to think that all these young guys, all these guys that had nothing to do with a war that was just pointless, had to die for something that just didn't mean anything really.
Mm-hmm. And of course the whole thing was that Blackadder, I'm not a big Blackadder fan myself, not that I don't like it, I just never got into it, was that it laughed at the more darker, serious aspects of our history. And was this the first one where we saw them die?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, because this is actually an episode of Blackadder that I've seen more than... The only one I think I've seen more than this is the Christmas Carol one, you know, they do the Scrooge thing. This one I've seen quite a few times, and even as a non-fan of the show, the impact of it is pretty heavy.
I think it is quite funny up until that last possible moment, and then, you know, they're just trying to get out of it, and then they have to go over. And I read as well when I was doing my research that the actual set was made of polystyrene, and when they all fell, they all just kind of bounced around, so that's why it goes into slow motion. And then when they played it back, they realised that the slow motion actually worked a hell of a lot better than them just falling down.
Right, okay. Okay, right, now, number 9, The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 15, This Sorrowful Life. Daryl sees Merle as a walker.
Got to admit that Meryl went out in a hell of a awesome fashion. You know, just playing a bit of metal and driving down the street and then jumping into a building and stuff like that. That was one way to go out. But I think this came up quite a lot, and I think it's one of those moments that really hit people in Walking Dead, because we'd seen a lot of horrible things in Season 3, and this was just because Daryl is such a... You know, he's such a man's man. You know, he never really shows that much emotion. And to see him, you know, seeing Meryl as a zombie, knowing that he's failed to protect his big brother, and his big brother ended up protecting him, and then for him to go and like actually have to kill his brother who's already dead, and he's just kind of realizing like how horrible, how crap this is, how bad this world actually is. Where, you know, he's not got his brother anymore, he's got nothing, he's not got his family. That was the last part of his family, and he's just, you know, beating him to a bloody pulp, just thinking like, why does this have to happen? And there's nothing worse than seeing a really strong male character break down crying.
Mm-hmm. And of course the thing about it was, Saxon, you're a fan of The Walking Dead as well.
I am.
Is that Merle's character was introduced in the first season. He kind of disappeared the whole way through the second season, is that right?
Yeah, well, he was only in the first two episodes of Season 1, and then in Season 2 he was only kind of a figment of Daryl's imagination in one episode, and then he came back in Season 3 with Michonne and Andrea. Yeah,
and he was a loathsome character. He was a redneck, hateful, racist, bigot, nasty, really scummy character. And before, you know, it's the old rule of, I think it was earlier in the episode where he does die, that They make him a very real fleshed out
and then
character.
In one of the earlier episodes as well, with Merle and Merle and Daryl, with Merle and Daryl, you know, you find out more about their home life growing up. That their father was quite abusive as well, so you can see how that could have affected Merle and how he ended up as an adult.
Yeah. But it's the kiss of death thing, isn't it? You know, where all of a sudden the character that you hate becomes sympathetic.
You instantly
you're in so much trouble.
You're so dead.
Yeah, you're in so much trouble. Okay, right. Number 8, Scrubs season 3, episode 14. My Screw Up. Now, this is an episode that even I have to admit, very, very nearly brought me to man tears. Was Ben Sullivan's death.
Yeah, you know, it's been such a long time since I'd watched Scrubs that I had to go back and watch this, and it really does hit you just how bad this is. So to set up the scene, Ben Sullivan is now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Dr. Cox's ex-wife's brother.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was diagnosed with leukemia in like the first season, and he went into remission. He went around the world with his camera and took photos because that was his thing. He always took photos. And then he comes back to the hospital, and Dr. Cox gives him into trouble because he's been away for a year and he's not seen anybody about his leukemia to see if he's okay. And they get a barrage of tests, and Dr. Cox is really, really busy. So he hands off his case to JD, who's obviously the main character on the show, and leaves the hospital. When he comes back, you know, the JD tells him that he's lost one of his patients and he's really sorry. And you kind of assume that it was this old man that they were talking about. Mm-hmm. And because, you know, Ben Sullivan is still there, so Brendan Fraser's character is still there, and he's talking to Dr. Cox and stuff, and you don't realise for a good 3 or 4 minutes that he's not there, that he's just in Dr. Cox's head. And then, you know, Dr. Cox goes through this whole, I suppose it's like a mental breakdown. Mm-hmm. And he stays in the hospital for 80 hours, and then eventually you see him in a certain, I think he apologises to JD for, you know, pretty much shouting at him for, you know, ended up killing a patient, but he never killed a patient, it wasn't his fault. And then he's standing in a suit and he's talking to Ben, and Ben says something like, are you going to take pictures at the party? And then JD walks up behind him and says, pictures of what? And he turns around and he says, like, of kids and with chocolate on their face and stuff. Is that not what people do? Because he's supposed to be going to his kid's birthday party. And then he turns back around to Ben, and Ben's gone. And JD says to him, well, where do you think you are? And then he kind of looks really somber, and they walk over, and they're at a graveyard, and they walk up to Ben's graveside, and then it's the kind of ceremony, and then it just pans down to Dr. Cox crying, and JD puts his hand on his shoulder and is like, you'll get over this. Mm-hmm. And it's just really sad. It's
the old TV trick. It's the only thing you can get away with. The only place you can get away with this is in film, where they have the character Ben as a real character the whole way through the episode, and then at the end they basically pull the rug out from under your feet, and you realise that this has all been a figment of Cox's imagination, and that the fact of the matter is that Ben is dead, and Cox, the whole thing is that the inner turmoil Cox cannot deal with. That his best friend is dead.
As Ben, yeah.
And it's a masterful episode, and Scrubs is one of a handful of shows that can do this. It can have you literally sore laughing, and then all of a sudden it hits you like a truck.
Yeah.
And
it sets you up, knocks you down.
And you're just on the verge of tears. And Ben's death. And of course, you know, the fact that he was played by Brendan Fraser, and Fraser makes him such a likeable character.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a darn great character. And yeah, it is. It's definitely one of TV's saddest moments. It's
in an interesting little side note, this really has kind of nothing to do with being sad, but had Scrubs been cancelled after its first season, had it not been picked up for any more seasons after that, the producers would have made the janitor a figment of JD's imagination.
I'd heard that the janitor was meant to be a figment of his imagination.
If you watch season 1 the whole way through, the only real interaction JD has, or the janitor has, is with JD. And he doesn't really interact with anybody else around the hospital.
Yeah, Scrubs is another one of those series that, of course, you know, it went on for, I think, 8 seasons. Was it 8 seasons?
Yeah, and then there was a 9th, but it was terrible because they had all new cast members in it.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, the first 5-6 seasons are just some of the best TV you'll ever watch.
I'm actually going back watching them now. Like, my season 2 just arrived in the mail today. I've got a serious bargain on them. They're all £3 each now.
Where is this?
Everywhere. Like CEX, Complete Entertainment Exchange, has them. eBay as well. I got season 2 on eBay for £3. Wow. Free postage and packaging. So I picked up seasons 1, 3 and 4 from CEX, and I got season 2 on eBay. Season 5 and onwards, all £3 as well.
Wow, brilliant. Well worth a purchase.
So there you go. Pick those up.
Okay, right, now the next one. I gotta be honest, this one is lost on me a wee bit. I don't see the sad in this. It's Sherlock season 2 episode